it's me, and today I thought I'd start a little series about painting and the different things that you would do for it, like different options and just different ways I like to do it. And so I think this video is going to be about the materials and brands of paint. So I guess I'll start with anything, really. So for paint water, I use a mason jar. And as you can tell, I've had it for a while because there's paint buildup, and I just empty it whenever the paint's all gross. So I use that all the time. Totally just stuck my finger in some paint. That's okay though. And then I also have a really cheap glass plate that I squirt the paint onto, because when it dries, I use a flat-edged X-Acto knife and I scrape it off. Like that. And then I just brush it away. But I tend to not have a lot that needs to be scraped off because I tend to just put like little drops, less than I think I would need. Okay, then I would say most people would need paint pods. I didn't think I would ever need these because like, oh, I don't really mix colors, I'll just buy the colors I need. Well, for some projects, that's not an option, so I had to buy some paint pods. I got like 2 packages of like 8, so that would be 16 of them. And I have filled 3, almost 4, full of paint colors. Here's 3 of them. Now this one is actually full of colors for 3 figures I made from a series. It's called Muffins, and it's by Raytana Station. It's quite gory, so unless you're, like, super into that, I wouldn't recommend watching it. And this is the 4th one, and I have one that's empty, but it's a matter of time before it's full. So these are just colors I've had to mix up. This one looks yellow in my camera lighting, but it's actually a light skin color. Same with this one over here. I don't know why they're turning out like that. And this one. And that one. Okay. So paint pods is definitely something I would need. I would say a cup for your paintbrushes, because I have a lot of paintbrushes. And this isn't even all of them. These are just the ones I don't use as much as these, which I keep by my side. And I know a lot of people, whenever they start painting, they think they need the top brand of paintbrushes and the most expensive ones. You really don't, in my mind. Because, like, these are, like, cheap ones from, like, Walmart, but they work great. And they feel really nice. They give off good textures. I think the most expensive paintbrushes I've ever bought are... One second. Let me grab it. Are these over here. Because I needed something that was really small at the tip and something that I could really grip. So I think these were the most expensive, but I did buy them in a set together. And all around, I think this added up to almost $8 for these paintbrushes. So yeah. Another thing I would definitely say you need is an old towel. If you have an old towel, like I do, I would cut it up and fold it, so that whenever you're painting and you've got paint on your brush, you know, you're done, you need another color, just wipe it off, and then you would dry it here. Just so that it's not as wet, so that whenever you go back, it doesn't water it too much, and then it really just turns really watery and gross. And then these are my normal paintbrushes, the ones I use like on a daily. A lot of them are small tipped. But then there are the bigger ones for like the bigger jobs, like this one. This one I would use for like a base coat, which I will talk more about that later. But yeah, keep those by my side. I also would suggest getting a dotting tool. Not the biggest size, but a good size. And I like the dual-ended one, because it's smaller on one end, bigger on the other. I use this for the little glare in the eye, or the little specks. So I use the bigger one, obviously, for that one, and then the smaller one for the little one. And it just makes everything so much easier, because if you're using a paintbrush, you can mess up on the circle, and then it's kind of like, ugh, now I have to redo it and wait for more paint to dry, and I think it's kind of annoying. But, so yeah, I would definitely say this is something I would love to have. And they're not that expensive either. They're really inexpensive. And they're used, like, all the time with me. Okay, what next? I guess I'll go ahead and go into brands. Okay. Now, I have this drawer full of paint. There's even paint over here. And most of these are from the same brand, which is Apple Barrel. They're one of my favorite brands for paint. They're really nice, they're really matte, and most of the time they're pretty solid, not very streaky. But there are ones like red that's a little hard to use, so you would have to add something to help it like thicken, which I'll get into that later, which a lot of people actually don't agree with my method of thickening paint. So I have a lot of paint here. But there are the other brands like Bella. I only have a few from this one. I don't know where to buy this. I found it in a Goodwill bag, just full of different paint colors, and this brand was in there. And there's also this brand, Folk Art, because Apple Barrel doesn't do metallic colors, at least that I know of. So I buy my metallic from Folk Art, or Craft Smart, which is the other brand I use. And I have, like, pretty much, other than this one, pretty much all of these up here are from Craftsmart, because I recently went there because I needed more silver and gold. And I also found these really nice pearl colors, which aren't very solid, but they're really pretty. I also have this nice purple and a couple of other brownish colors. And then Apple Barrel also has these giant bottles of paint colors, and I bought this like a year ago. I haven't even opened it yet, for reasons. And I also have a black one in there. So I think those are the only brands that are in here other than Apple Barrel. So like all of these are Apple Barrel, except for the few like Bella and Folk Art. But yeah, that's mainly the brand I use. Now, in painting, in the like 2 years I've done it, I've always had a problem with white paint. Like, I have this other giant bottle of paint that I've had for about a year or two now, and it's about right there in paint level. I love, love, love Apple Barrel, but their white is not very good. It is not solid enough. It kind of just looks like you're putting transparent paint on it, honestly. And I hate that it's like that. I wish it was more solid. So for 2 years I've been searching for a great white, and I found it. It's this one. Okay, I got the small bottle. They have bigger bottles because I didn't know if it was going to work how I wanted. It is so insanely amazing. I love it so much. It's great. And it goes on super thin. Not really any streaks if you put it on thin enough. But when you put it on thin, there's hardly any, like, splotches or anything. It's amazing. I love it. And I've only been using it for like a month now. And I haven't even used that much, which is awesome. The fact that you don't need to use all that much of it is so amazing, because I would hate to have to buy a new bottle every week because I'm using a lot. Not every week, that's a little exaggerating, but it's amazing. I love it. I love it. I'm so happy that it did what I wanted it to. Now, if you're curious, you don't want to go out and buy it to know if it works the way you want it to, I do have some characters. Now, he's been coated once very, very, very lightly with this paint. And yes, there are still areas where you can see like the eyes and parts of his fur, but another very thin layer of the white and then the skin tone, it's perfect. You can't really tell that you put really anything there. So yeah, I love it amazingly. And I've been using it a lot. Like these three right here. Oh, whoops. They're coated in it. He was coated in it. That one wasn't. That one, though, was. And, like, this one. Hold on. That one, and, like, 5 of the ones back here were coated in it. This one was coated in it, too. It's amazing. And even, like, my Shining Armor. This is about 2 layers. I think you might need 1 more just to make sure it's nice and good and it's on there and it's nice and thick. Oh, these 2 also, they were coated in it. These are some of my favorite customs right now. Like, I love, 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 love this one. And if you're curious as to why one eye is gray, he's blind in one eye. And no, please don't think that's me making fun of it. It is not. Sometimes I do ponies with medical conditions. Like, I have one over there who has a handful of them. I do not do it to make fun. I know people who have these problems, and I portray them as ponies. And then I got this guy. But, yeah. That paint is the best that I've found for white, because I used to buy this, like, weird tube of it, but it was so thick, it was so blotchy. And then, when you want to, like, thicken paint, I use the smallest amount of flour. A lot of people don't like this method. Or a lot of people think it wouldn't work, but it's just the only way I can figure how to do it. A lot of people would say, oh, it gave me clumps. You have to keep working at it. You have to keep mixing it until there aren't any more clumps. And I got this really cool jar that had a spoon. And I found it in the kitchen area. I don't know what it was supposed to be for originally, but I love it. I haven't used it yet, though. And then for sealers, I have only ever used 1 sealer, and I do not like it all that much. I need to find a new one. I just use Mod Podge. I use the paper Mod Podge, but I water it down, like, really badly. I would take one of these spoons, which is a very, very small spoon, like, there's my thumb compared to it, and I would take 1 scoop of the paint, and I would put it in a thing, and I'd probably get about, 2 tablespoons of water to 1 scoop. Possibly more, but you don't want to put too much, or else it's just going to wash away the effects of the Mod Podge, and it's not going to work, and you will just have a wet custom. Believe me, I've tried it before, like that, it did not work. You have to be careful when touching Mod Podge, because if you have, like, residue on your hands, like paint residue, it will come off to the wetness of the Mod Podge and come off on your figures. Believe me, I've had that happen way too much. But, that was pretty much materials and paint brands and coating. I think the next video will be applications of these colors and how to make the colors just blend together nicely. I don't know how long this series will be. I don't know how often I'm going to update it. More than likely I will record another video after I finish this one. Not too sure yet. But, hey. I hope you guys enjoy. This is getting really long. I thought this was shorter. Bye, guys.